Tottenham owners eye new stadium sponsor by appointing the man who is behind Everton's lucrative Hill Dickinson naming rights partnership. A report states that Spurs could move for a new goalkeeper, with Bart Verbruggen and James Trafford both of interest. Spurs prepare plans for a major midfield rebuild, eyeing Adam Wharton and Carlos Baleba. Fabrizio Romano speaks out on the current situation at Tottenham, with the board having no current plans to sack Thomas Frank. A report in The Standard suggests that failure to win at home to Brentford on Saturday and the weight of opinion of many fans against Thomas Frank could reach a point that is tough to come back from. The date will lose Pat Matassar and Yves Bissouma to the Africa Cup of Nations, and Thomas Frank on current team news, if he'll celebrate against Brentford, and the return of Heung-Min Son. Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here are your daily Tottenham news headlines, where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already as yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Like, share and comment below, and if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Okay, let's get into it. The Telegraph report that Tottenham Hotspur's Lewis family owners have given a clear signal that they plan to end the club's long wait to find a lucrative naming rights sponsor for their £1 billion stadium. Failure to land a naming rights deal for the Spurs stadium that opened over 6 years ago was one of the major criticisms of former chairman Daniel Levy, who the Lewis family seized full control from in September. As part of the sweeping behind-the-scenes changes instigated by the Lewis family, Telegraph Sport can reveal that Alex Scotcher will start as the club's new commercial director in January, having worked on naming rights deals for Everton and Valencia. Scotcher is joining Spurs from sports and entertainment consultancy firm Elevate, where he was senior vice president of the global partnerships for over 3 years. Before that, Scotcher spent almost 4 years at Serie A club Roma, where he was director of global partnerships and chief commercial officer. It was Scotcher's most recent work at Elevate that will be of particular interest to Tottenham fans, as he is key to the club's long search for a naming rights partner for the club's state-of-the-art stadium. US-based Elevate were appointed by Everton as sponsorship sales agency for the club's £750 million stadium, and in May, Hill Dickinson were announced as the naming rights partner in a deal reportedly worth over £10 million a year over the next decade. Speaking about Everton's Hill Dickinson deal, Scotcher said, "When we talk about that and what the venue was like and how we took it to market, it was positioned as a sports and entertainment destination where Premier League football was on the menu. But we've also got major touring artists, a 2,000 person capacity fan plaza in one of Europe's most exciting, vibrant, burgeoning cities." Tottenham's failure to land a naming rights deal for the club's stadium that opened in 2019 has been blamed on Levy setting the price too high. Telegraph Sport reported that Levy had initially wanted a world record naming rights deal worth £25 million a year for a 15-year commitment that would have earned Spurs £375 million. That proved impossible, even after Tottenham appointed Todd Klein as the club's first chief commercial officer. Klein had helped the Miami Dolphins land an 18-year naming rights deal for their stadium worth a reported $180 million, but resigned 3 years later to join London rivals Chelsea with Spurs naming rights unresolved. Given Everton's Hill Dickinson deal is reportedly worth £10 million a year, Tottenham, who would expect to land a bigger deal, have already missed out on over £60 million worth of revenue because of the inability to find a naming rights partner. Scotch has described the process of identifying Hill Dickinson, an international law firm headquartered in Liverpool, as the perfect stadium partner for Everton, by adding, "We felt like the storytelling capability was so good that it was worth some intelligent conversation with the leaders of Hill Dickinson. We started that and we systematically worked with their marketing teams, with their leadership, and then the whole process ran all the way through to their partners and their board, providing the business case, the brand growth, data, and much more." Scotcher will report to Tottenham's Chief Revenue Officer Ryan Norris, and it is understood that the Lewis family are keen to significantly grow the club's commercial deals despite prioritising sustained sporting success on the pitch. According to Team Talk, Tottenham are well informed about the goalkeeping options available and are considering both Verbruggen and Manchester City outcast James Trafford. The Lily Whites are said to be hugely impressed with Verbruggen following his strong displays at Brighton, where the Dutchman has kept 10 clean sheets in the Premier League since the start of last season. While the cost of a potential move has not been revealed, Brighton are in a strong negotiating position with Verbruggen under contract until June 2028. The 24-year-old has also attracted interest abroad, with Bundesliga giants Bayern Munich reportedly considering him as a long-term replacement for veteran Manuel Neuer, who is in the final year of his contract. Tottenham's reported interest in Verbruggen follows claims that the club could look to sell Vicario in 2026 amid plans to sign a new shot stopper. Caught Offside report that Tottenham Hotspur are preparing for a major midfield rebuild next summer, with reports suggesting the North London club plan to spend big on two of the Premier League's most promising young talents, that being Brighton's Carlos Baleba and Crystal Palace's Adam Wharton. According to Team Talk, Spurs view the pair as central to a long-term revamp of their midfield as they look to inject youth, energy and creativity into a squad that has faltered under Thomas Frank. Tottenham's recent struggles in the Premier League, 5 games without a win, have exposed glaring weaknesses in the middle of the park. Baleba, who's 21, has been one of Brighton's best performers since his move from Lille in 2023. He is known for his strong ball-carrying ability and impressive composure under pressure. Given Brighton's well-documented success in maximising player value, as seen with Moises Caicedo and Alexis McAllister, Tottenham knows securing his signature won't come cheap. Meanwhile, Wharton is also someone who is being chased by all the top clubs in England, including Manchester United, Liverpool and Manchester City. Wharton's value has soared in recent months, and increasing competition in his services will only make it difficult for the North London club to sign them. If Tottenham are serious about both signings, the club could be looking at a club record move to bring them both to the club. And speaking to Gimme Sport, Fabrizio Romano says that Spurs are monitoring Frank closely amid the growing fan unrest, but there are no immediate plans to replace him as yet. Romano stated, "Of course, the board can't be happy with the recent results, with higher expectations in the next games to change the situation. His job is being monitored closely, but nothing else at the moment. Frank is poised to take on former club Brentford this weekend, and nothing but a win will do at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to convince some of the supporters that he is indeed the right man for the job." Spurs have another crucial home game just a few days later, of course, when they face off against Slavia Prague in the Champions League. 2 very winnable games that could seriously help to change the mood. They also travel to Nottingham Forest on December 14th before their final match pre-Christmas against Liverpool in North London, with Frank hoping for a vital point swing to get them nearer the Champions League places. January is of course right round the corner as well, and reports suggest that Tottenham are intent on signing a new attacker to provide that much needed extra threat going forward. The Standard report that failure to win at home to Brentford on Saturday and the weight of opinion of many fans against Thomas Frank could reach a point that is tough to come back from for the Dane. This is not a game to set up cautiously in with concern for the opposition, with all due respect for Brentford, nor is it a match to be taking an age preparing set pieces and long throws. Spurs must prove they can dominate a match, create chances and score goals. They did it against Copenhagen last month in the Champions League, but there has been little sign of it in the Premier League for weeks, if not months. Brentford have a poor away record this season with a win and 5 defeats from their 6 matches on the road. However, that does not normally stop Spurs tripping over their own feet. Fulham have 4 points away from home in the Premier League, 3 of which were generously offered up by Tottenham. Wolves' only point and indeed goal on their travels this season has come against Thomas Frank's side. The Frank era will go nowhere unless Spurs improve on their home form and give their fans something to cheer. Games that are obviously winnable on paper must play out the same way on the pitch. It has been a long wait for Spurs to rip off their home shackles and put a team to the sword in the Premier League. That indeed needs to finally come to pass on Saturday against the club Frank knows better than any other. The release date for players to leave their clubs to join up for the Africa Cup of Nations has now been confirmed. The competition gets underway on December 21st when hosts Morocco take on Comoros. Players will be released from their clubs by December 15th. Tottenham are set to have 2 stars feature at the tournament, those being Pat Matar Sarr for Senegal and Yves Bissouma for Mali. And Thomas Frank on if he will celebrate against his former club Brentford, if of course Spurs score and win. He said, "Yeah, I will. Everyone respects the respect I have for Brentford." Before kick-off after full time. In the 90 minutes, it's all about one thing: do what we can to win the game. Frank has also confirmed that all players who featured against Newcastle are fit to be selected, but provided no further updates on Kulusevski and Solanke's availability, stating, "When they are ready to be close to joining the squad, then I will provide an update." Thomas Frank also stated that he was so pleased for Sonny to come back on Tuesday and get the well-deserved celebration for everything he's done for this club. It was a good send-off in South Korea, so on Tuesday we will applaud him. Okay, well, here's my thoughts on all those stories today. Firstly, about bringing in this new chap to hopefully get the stadium sponsor rights package sorted out. We've been told for years now, haven't we, that Daniel Levy always saw the name Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as essentially, in a nutshell, making the club just as much, if not more money than any naming rights sponsor could do, and getting the word Tottenham Hotspur Stadium out there into the world actually puts Tottenham on the map more than calling it, I don't know, the Google Stadium or whatever, whatever sponsor we're going to get. But I said there how much money that Spurs have probably lost out on in revenue from not having this sponsor. It's interesting that Everton decided to get their sponsor as soon as the stadium opened. A lot of clubs do that. Obviously, the Etihad didn't. I think they were called Eastlands. They just called it Eastlands at first, so it doesn't always work like that. But I remember Manchester City's sponsor came in. It wasn't too long after they moved in, so it's unusual for a club to do this in Tottenham. Now, this isn't my world, but it says to me that they are serious about getting this naming rights sorted. I think it's got to be the right sponsor, and the club knows that. I did a video some time ago about the worst stadium names due to sponsors, so I do hope whatever our stadium is called in the future, it's a good one. I will always remember it as White Hart Lane. I now refer to it as the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium because it's kind of ingrained in you, isn't it? So whatever it is, I just hope it's a good one. Yeah, that's the thing for me. But the most important thing out of it, of course, is getting a good revenue package. So hopefully this chap coming in, this Scotcher, will get that deal done. Spurs considering a new goalkeeper. This is interesting to me because Vicario has actually, he's received a fair bit of criticism. Obviously, the boos the other week, which I don't agree of during the game, which I've already said. Interesting, Spurs are looking at a new keeper and obviously the rumours about Vicario possibly wanting to go or leaving. I don't place too much on that, but you just never know if a right deal comes in and the right goalkeeper comes in as a replacement. Could Vicario go? Of course, it's a possibility. Anything can happen in football. But Spurs considering this new keeper, what they're going to do with Kinski? Would Kinski stay around if Vicario went as the number 2? That would be an interesting one. I can't see Vicario stepping down and being a number 2 and us getting rid of Kinski. So I think if Vicario stays, he's still our number 1. And do you find a replacement for Kinski? I think Vicario's come in for some unfair stick. As I say, he has saved us in many games this season, put in some brilliant performances. The one in Monaco, certainly one that springs to mind. The trouble is when a goalkeeper makes a mistake, generally it results in a goal. Yes, the one the other week when he tried to clear the ball was an absolute moment of madness. But apart from that, yes, Vicario's got his weaknesses, but he's on the whole, I think, been pretty good. So let's see how Spurs see that situation. Could they upgrade on Vicario? Possibly, yes, they could. But I think you could do a lot worse than Vicario. As for Spurs going for Baleba and Wharton, I'm not too sure about this. This is going to cost us a fortune. Obviously, Baleba's been touted around various Premier League clubs, and Adam Wharton seems to be wanted by everybody. Absolutely phenomenal player, regular in the England setup. So, I mean, if we could get both, that would be a real overhaul and put down a statement of intent. Whether you could get them both in January, I very, very much doubt. In the summer, perhaps. But again, it comes down to the fact, can you see Tottenham going big and getting ready-made players for the Premier League? There's still something in the back of my mind that says we aren't going to do it because just recent history, really. Well, it's not even recent history. It's over the last 20 years. Have we really brought in world-class talent? We haven't. So I say again to the Lewis family, put your money where your mouth is and show us some intent. And leading on from that, that is going to help Thomas Frank. Obviously, we get those players in. But Fabrizio Romano has said this before about managers, this sort of thing. So it's a little bit concerning and sends a clear message, really, that the board are monitoring Thomas Frank's position at Tottenham. And I don't think he's in any threat or danger at the moment, but they will be concerned with the results. So the board are going to be monitoring that. And do they provide funds for a man if they're not sure about the manager going into January? Hopefully Frank can turn this around over the next few weeks. Some tough games coming up, but it all starts at Brentford, of course, his old club, and it definitely is a must win. I think if we don't beat Brentford on Saturday, then serious questions do need to be asked. We've got games coming thick and fast up until Christmas. Of course we have, everybody has, but the next 3 or 4 games, crucial. So let's hope Thomas Frank can turn it around. AFCON release dates, as we know, we're going to lose the 2 players. I mean, Yves Bissouma obviously hasn't been playing at all for Tottenham, so shouldn't really be too much of a miss with all due respect to him. But Pat Matasar, again, a player that's probably not played that much under Thomas Frank, will be with his national team over Christmas and into the new year. So it's a difficult one with Sarr because he started off so well and just hasn't had the opportunities under Thomas Frank. So let's see how that goes. Hopefully he'll have a good AFCON and come back rejuvenated and fighting his way back into the team. The team news, Kulusevski and Solanke. Obviously, Solanke we're told a lot about. Kulusevski we're told a lot about previously that he's working towards fitness. He was hoping Thomas Frank to have him ready for December or end of November. That doesn't seem to have happened, and neither does Solanke. So all he said was he'll provide an update when they're ready to join the team. So what can we say about that? Is something happened with their progression, with their injury, recovery from injury? Who knows? Hopefully they're both very close because we could really do with them. And finally, how good is it going to be to see Heung-Min Son back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Tuesday evening when we play our Champions League game against Slavia Prague? Fantastic. I saw the little video that Sonny did saying he's looking forward to coming back and saying goodbye to the fans. It's going to be a bit emotional to see Sonny again. And dare I say, we could have done with him on that left wing this season because realistically we haven't replaced him. Yes, he wasn't at his best last season, but I still think he would have done a brilliant job for us this year and certainly as another option. But really good to see Sonny coming back and saying goodbye to all the fans. But that's all for me today. Get down in the comments, let me know about any of the stories today, how you're feeling as a Tottenham fan right now. And as always, come on you Spurs.